Welcome to my video lessons. In this video, I'm going to explain about the special semiconductor devices. Right, till now we know the semiconductor devices. They are made up of using semiconducting materials, and examples of semiconducting and the conduction of the semiconductor devices, semiconduction. Right, this already we know. And what are the examples of semiconductor device, semiconducting devices are PN junction diode, transistor, FET, all these are semiconductor devices. Here, now we are going to discuss about the special semiconductor devices. The main objective of this session is here, introduction of the special semiconductor devices. That means what are the special semiconductor devices, and varactor diode. What is a varactor diode? Its construction and working principle of the varactor diode, as well as another device, UJT, unijunction junction transistor. Working principle of UJT, its characteristics and the applications of UJT. I will discuss all these topics in this session. Okay, first, introduction of special semiconductor devices. We know that semiconductor device can conduct, that means the conduction is of semi and partially conducted. Here, one more thing, PN, if there is a PN junction, means it has two semiconducting materials, PN type and N type materials. There is one junction, that is PN junction. Normally, this PN junction conducts in the forward bias, and it doesn't conduct in the reverse bias. Up to this, we know that, and again, it has two terminals, anode and cathode. Anode and cathode. This is about the PN junction diode. Based, see, with this, depending upon the physical structure and the type of semiconductor materials used in the construction of a diode, there are many different variants are possible. Till now, we know only the PN junction diode, a P-type material, and properly doped P-type and N-type material. If these are combined, there will be a formation of one PN junction. And again, here, depending on the type of semiconductor material and the physical structure of the diode, there are many different types of devices. Those are called special semiconductor devices, and some few are these special devices are two-terminal devices and three-terminal devices. See, with the doping levels of the semiconducting materials, each device has its own characteristics, different characteristics, with different methods of construction. That means based on the method of construction as well as the method of doping, there are each device has its own characteristics, and each device has its own applications. Examples of this special semiconductor devices are varactor diode, UJT, tunnel diode. These all are examples of special devices, semiconductor devices. There are another type of special semiconductor devices. These devices are related with light and electricity. Other type of special semiconductor devices are based on interrelationship of light and electricity. This type of devices are called optoelectronic devices. If any device is related with the light, then those devices are called optoelectronic devices. So examples of these optoelectronic devices are LED, light emitting diode LED, photodiode, and phototransistor. These are the examples of, and photovoltaic cell. These all that is solar cell. All are examples of optoelectronic devices. Right. Now we will discuss about the varactor diode. See the name, it is a type of diode. That means it has two terminals, and the other word is varactor. Varactor. A varactor diode is a PN junction diode. It acts as a variable capacitor under reverse bias condition. It is a diode, varactor diode. It is a diode. Diode means with two terminals, and there is one PN junction, right? This diode acts as a variable capacitor in reverse bias. That means this varactor diode operates in reverse bias. This varactor diode also called varicap diode, that means variable capacitor. Varicap diode, varactor diode, and tuning diode. That means varying the capacitance means this can be used as tuning purpose also. So varactor diode is also called tuning diode. In some cases we can call voltage variable capacitor. Voltage variable capacitor. This varactor, the name varactor came from the variable capacitor. From these two words, this word is originated, variable capacitor. It operates only in the reverse bias. In other words, we can say that it is a specially designed semiconductor device. Already I said that varactor diode is a special semiconductor device. So it is a specially designed semiconductor diode whose capacitance at the PN semiconductor junction changes with the change in applied voltage across its terminals. It is a special type of semiconducting device whose the capacitance at the PN junction semiconductor junction changes with the change in applied voltage. Change in applied voltage. It is a diode. It can behave as a variable capacitor. So it is called as it is named as a varactor diode. Variable capacitor diode. What is a variable varactor diode? It is a variable capacitor diode. Means initially we can say that it is a special semiconducting device. It is a type of special semiconducting device. It has one PN junction and the it acts as a variable capacitor under reverse bias. Varactor diode is a variable capacitor diode. It works only in the reverse bias. It is operated only in the reverse bias, and the capacitance of it varies. It acts as a variable capacitor. This is about varactor diode. See, this varactor diode is used to replace variable capacitors that need to be operated mechanically for changing the value of capacitance. Generally, to change the suppose for variable capacitance, the requirement of variable capacitance, the capacitance values are changed mechanically. This is replaced by using a varactor diode. It is used to replace variable capacitors that are operated mechanically. So by varying the applied voltage, the capacitance is varying in the varactor diode. So these are used to replace this capacitors, variable capacitors operated with mechanically. One advantage of this capacitance of a varactor diode can be changed by changing the voltage across its terminals. These are the available varactor diodes 910 FT. It has two terminals. See, we know that this varactor diode, it is a type of PN junction diode. It has two terminals. See, the width of the depletion region. Whenever there is a junction means there will be a depletion region depending on the applied voltage. This depletion region and the width of the depletion region depends on the number of impurities added at the time of doping. Doping means adding impurities. The width of depletion, this depletion region depends on the amount of doping. A heavily doped varactor diode has a thin depletion layer, whereas lightly doped varactor diode has a wide depletion layer. The heavily doped depletion varactor diodes has thin depletion. The depletion layer is less, length width is thin, whereas lightly doped device has wide depletion layer. The p-type and n-type semiconductor acts like the electrodes or conductive plates of the capacitor. Generally, how this varactor diode is used as a variable capacitor means there is a PN junction, that means one p-type and one n-type material is added, and based on the applied there will be a depletion region. This n-type material and p-type material are acting as a conductive plates of the capacitor, and the depletion region is acting as a dielectric of a capacitor. In an unbiased varactor diode, the depletion width is very small, so the capacitance is very large, and then the width of the depletion width and the capacitance of are related inversely proportional to each other. That is the reason for an unbiased varactor diode, the depletion width is very small, If the depletion width is small means it has very high capacitance. The capacitance is very high. The charge storage is very high. See, this is the symbol of the varactor diode with a diode, and there is a capacitor, and there is the symbol. This arrow is indicating variable capacitor. This is the construction of the varactor diode, symbol of varactor diode and construction of the varactor diode. If you observe the construction of varactor diode, see, these are P and N type layers, made of silicon or gallium arsenic. Depending upon the material, the type of properties will be changes. Right? These are the gold-plated whites, and ceramic tube. This is ceramic tube, and this is the anode and cathode. Two terminals. PN varactor diode has two PN N junction materials with two terminals. Right. A varactor diode consists of a p-type and n-type semiconductor layers sandwiched together, with the n-type layer attached to a mesa table-shaped structure. A gold-plated molybdenum stud is connected to n-type layer via the mesa structure, and it acts as cathode terminal. This is the cathode terminal. This is the mesa structure. This n-type. What is it? With the n-type layer attached to a mesa structure, a gold-plated molybdenum stud is connected to n-type layer via the mesa structure. It acts as a cathode terminal, and the p-type layer is connected to another gold-plate via a gold-plated molybdenum stud, which acts as a anode. Varactor diode is a two-terminal device. Terminals are anode and cathode. N-type is connected to a mesa via the mesa structure, cathode terminal called, and p-type is connected to another gold-plated molybdenum stud called anode. Except for some portion of the molybdenum studs, the entire range is enclosed in a ceramic layer. This is the except these two. This entire is coated in a ceramic layer, ceramic tube. These two are the gold-plated whites. The p-type and n-type layers of the varactor diode are made up of silicon or gallium arsenide, depending on the type of application for which it is used. The semiconducting materials here are either maybe a silicon or gallium arsenide. It is depending on the type of application for this varactor diode is used. For low frequency applications, silicon is used as semiconducting material, and for high frequency applications, gallium arsenide is used. That means this varactor diode can be constructed with two semiconducting materials, that may be either silicon or gallium arsenide. That is depending upon the application. That means for low frequency applications, silicon is the used material. For high frequency applications, gallium arsenide is used. For conventional diodes, the P and N type semiconductors are uniformly doped with impurities to improve conductivity. But in the case of varactor diodes, the concentration of impurities near the p-n junction is very less, and it gradually increases as we move towards to the layers of other surface. See what is at the time of and how the doping levels will be means for general conventional p-n junction diode, the complete layer is uniformly doped with impurities, whereas in this varactor diode, the concentration of impurities near the p-n junction is very less. Impurities are very less at near the p-n junction, and gradually this concentration of impurities are increasing as we move towards the layers of other surfaces. This is doping concentration levels. This is about the working construction of a varactor diode. Now we will see the working principle of varactor diode. What is varactor diode means? It is a variable capacitor. That means based on the applied voltage between the two measure. This device is acting as a variable capacitor under reverse bias. So the varactor diode should always be operated in reverse bias, because in reverse bias the electric current doesn't flows. That means when device is operated in the forward bias, that means there will be no junction. That means the width of the depletion region is becomes negligible. That means the electrons will move freely from P to N and N to P. That means charge carriers are moving from one junction to the another junction. The electric current flows through the diode when it is in the forward bias. That is the reason the varactor diode should always be in the operated in the reverse bias only. The reverse biased PN junction diode thus has an effective capacitance. The effective capacitance of this diode capacitance is CT is equals to epsilon A divided by WD. That means epsilon into area of the junction divided by width of the depletion layer. This is the capacitance of the devices depending on the three parameters: permittivity of the semiconductor material, and area of the junction, and the width of the depletion layer. Area is directly proportional to the capacitance, and the width of the depletion region is inversely proportional to the capacitance. That means width of the depletion layer is increasing, means the capacitance is decreasing. See this p-type and n-type semiconductors, how these are doped means the impurities are added, means at the junction the concentration is less, so they are moving towards surfaces, means the concentration is high. And one more point, varactor diode should be operated in the reverse bias. That means p-type semiconducting material is connected to the negative terminal, and n-type is connected to the positive terminal, reverse bias. So when the p-n junction is in the reverse bias, the depletion region is, width of the depletion region is high. This already we know. When a reverse bias voltage is applied, the electrons from N region and holes from P region moves away from the junction. Electrons from the N region and holes from the P region moves away from the junction. That means the width of the depletion region increases. The width of the depletion region and the capacitance are inversely proportional. Width is increasing, means capacitance decreases. The capacitance is inversely proportional to the width of the depletion region and directly proportional to the surface area of the P region and N region. So the capacitance decreases as the width of the depletion region increases. increases. That means when the reverse bias is going on increasing means the width of the depletion region is going on increasing. That means capacitance decreases. Capacitance decreases. If there is no bias means width of the depletion region is very less. The capacitance is very high. See, this is the relationship between the capacitance and the applied reverse voltage. Initially, for low voltage, low reverse voltage, the capacitance is high, and when the reverse voltage is going on increasing means the capacitance is going on decreasing. Relationship between the capacitance and the reverse voltage. Capacitance decreases when reverse voltage increases. In a varactor diode, the capacitance is varied when the voltage is varied. That is the reason it is called a variable capacitance. The capacitance of a varactor diode is in the order of picofarads. In the order of picofarads. This is about varactor diode. What is the use of this varactor diodes means? These varactor diodes are replacing mechanically tuned capacitors in a number of applications. Because of what are the reasons for preferring this varactor diode means? In small size, lack of moving parts, no need of moving parts, reliability is more, faster response is very high, rugged in construction, and operation over wide range of frequencies. Depending upon the material, the frequency range is also varying. Right? These are the uses of varactor diode. And applications of varactor diode. What are the applications where we can use this varactor diode means? In voltage controlled oscillators, automatic frequency control device, FM demodulator, adjustable band pass filter, parametric amplifiers, harmonic generators, and mixers. In all these cases, that means wherever this variable capacitance is needed, we can use this varactor diode. Band pass filters to vary the capacitance, parametric amplifiers, harmonic generators, mixers, FM modulators. In all these cases, in all the appliances, we can use the applications, we can use the varactor diode. That means what is a varactor diode? It is a two-terminal PN junction device. It operates only in the reverse bias. So how it is acting means it acts as a variable. It is the variable capacitor with the applied reverse voltage. The capacitance is varying. How it is varying means when the reverse voltage is increasing means the width of the depletion layer is going on increasing. With that, the capacitance is varying. That means decreasing. This is about varactor diode. It is a type of special semiconductor device. And the next one is unijunction transistor. Unijunction transistor. See, unijunction, it is a type of transistor, and the junction generally transistor has two junctions, but here the junction is only one, that is unijunction transistor. It is a special type of special semiconducting device. The device will be available in this form, and this is 2N2646, the number of UJT device. It has three terminals, emitter, base 1 and base 2. Base 1 and base 2. This is the circuit symbol of UJT. Emitter, base 1 and base 2. What is a unijunction transistor? It is a type of special semiconductor device. It has three terminals. Those are emitter, base 1 and base 2. Generally, it is referred as UJT. UJT is a three-terminal device, and it is like this. Construction of UJT. The three terminals of this UJT are emitter, base 1 and base 2. It essentially consists of lightly doped N-type silicon bar. How it is constructed means there will be a lightly doped N-type silicon bar with a small piece of heavily doped P-type material. This heavily doped P region is called emitter, and the ends of the N-type bar is labeled as base 1 and base 2. This you can see here, a lightly doped N-type silicon bar with a piece of heavily doped P-type material. A piece of P-type material, heavily doped P-type material. This P-type material is region is called emitter, emitter, and the ends of N type bar is base 1 and base 2. This is the construction of N junction transistor. This highly doped p-type material allowed to its one side to produce single p-n junction. That means there is a n-type silicon bar, and that there is a heavily doped p-type bar. That means there is a formation of single p-n junction. That is the reason it is called uni junction. There is a one junction. It has only one junction. That is the reason uni junction transistor. The p-n junction is formed between the emitter and the bar. The resistance between base 1 and base 2 is called interbase resistance. The resistance between this called interbase resistance. See, the p-n junction is replaced with a diode, and the n-type bar is the resistance between B1 and B2 terminals is called interbase resistance. Okay. From emitter to this point to B2, one RB2, base resistor 2 and base resistor 1. The lightly doped silicon bar has high resistance, can be represented by two resistors connected in series. The p-n junction is replaced with a diode, and the lightly doped silicon bar has high resistance. The resistance of the silicon bar has high resistance, and it is replaced by a two resistors RB2, RB1 connected in series. This is the equivalent circuit of UJT. The resistance offered by n-type bar between base 1 and emitter is referred as RB1, and resistance between offered by n-type bar between base 2 and emitter is referred as RB2. RB1, RB2, and this is the junction diagram. Here, the voltage across this RB1, V1 is equals to our applied voltage VBB into the resistance RB1 by total resistance. Here, the ratio of RB1 by total resistance is called eta. That means V1 is equals to eta VBB, where eta is called intrinsic standoff ratio. Eta is called intrinsic standoff ratio. This is called eta point at which the voltage V1 equals to VBB eta VBB. Intrinsic standoff ratio denoted by eta. It is equals to ratio of RB1 by the total resistance, that is RB1 plus summation of RB1 plus RB2. The intrinsic standoff ratio is a property of a UJT. It is always less than unity. In that eta is always less than unity. The typical values of it lies between 0.5 to 0.8. 0.5 to 0.8. Now we'll see the working of UJT. See, this is UJT. This is base 2, base 1, and emitter. A lightly doped n-type bar with heavily doped p-type bar. This is emitter, base 2 and base 1. See, when the emitter is open, when the V is 0, the emitter voltage is 0. That means when the emitter is open, when BBB is applied between base 1 and base 2. Base 2 is positive with respect to base 1. Base 1 and base 2. See what happens when V is 0, emitter voltage is 0. When emitter voltage is 0, that means P is connected to 0. A voltage gradient, base 2 positive with respect to base 1. That means a voltage gradient established along the n-type bar. A voltage gradient establishes. This voltage drop across RB1 is V1. Just now we saw the voltage drop across RB1 is V1. It is equals to eta into VBB. Eta into VBB. What is VBB? VBB is the voltage applied between base 2 and base 1 with respect to base 1. V1 is eta VBB. Eta is intrinsic standoff ratio RB1 by total resistance. This voltage V1 reverse bias the PN junction and the emitter cutoffs. That is, the emitter current is 0. See, when the emitter voltage is 0, there is a voltage between base 2 and base 1. So the voltage at this point is V1 is equals to eta into VBB. That means the voltage at this point is eta times of VBB. That is cathode is 2 eta VBB and anode voltage is 0. It is in reverse bias. Reverse bias. That means the emitter current is 0. 0. The total reverse bias voltage is V1 plus diode voltage. What that is the cut-in voltage of the diode, 0.7 volts for silicon. When positive voltage is applied at the emitter, when the emitter is open, that means there is no voltage at the emitter terminal. VA is 0. VA is 0. The diode is in reverse bias. The diode is in reverse bias and the emitter current is 0. That means UJT is in reverse bias. When a positive voltage is applied at the emitter and VBB is placed between the base 1 and base 2. When VA is slowly increasing and slowly increasing and VA becomes equals to eta times of VBB. The applied emitter voltage is equals to eta times of VBB. That means the voltage at the cathode. Emitter current IA is 0 only. With equal voltage levels on each side of the diode, it neither reverse nor forward current will flow. The voltage at the anode and cathode voltage at the cathode both are same. That means that is not in the reverse and not in the forward current will flow. There is no current. That means in this case also IA is 0. When the emitter voltage VA is further increased and it becomes equals to the eta VBB plus VD. When this VA exceeds this voltage, that this device is the diode conducts. That means it comes into the forward mode. The value of emitter voltage VA is called peak point voltage and it is denoted by VP. The applied voltage. Emitter voltage exceeds eta VBB plus VD. The diode is in conducting mode. That voltage is called peak voltage. The value of emitter voltage is called peak voltage and it is denoted by VP. At VP, what is VP? VP is eta times of VBB plus VD. Whenever this emitter voltage is equals to peak voltage, that is summation of eta VBB plus VD. The device comes into the conducting mode. That means UJT is in the conducting mode. When V is equals to Vp, emitter current starts to flow through RB1. RB1. The diode is in forward bias means the current starts to flow through RB1. This minimum current that is required to trigger the UJT is called peak point emitter current IP. The minimum current that is required to trigger the UJT is called peak point emitter current. The current that is required to trigger the UJT is called peak point emitter current, peak current, or else you can say that is denoted with IP. When the emitter voltage exceeds this eta VBB plus VD, the emitter diode starts conducting. The emitter diode is in conducting. Charge carriers are injected into RB1 region of the bar. Hence, the resistor of RB1 decreases rapidly due to the additional charge carriers. That means when the device is this diode into conducting mode, the resistance of RB1 decreases due to the additional charge carriers. This RB1 varies. With this decrease in resistance, the voltage drop across RB1 also decreases. That means V1 also decreases. This decrease of voltage causes the emitter diode to be heavily forward biased. This results large forward current. The device is heavily forward bias means the flow of current is large forward current. That means more charge carriers are injected into RB1 region. That means again the resistance further decreases. Further this voltage drop, this point voltage decreases. It is more forward biased. This process continues. This causes further reduction in the resistance of the RB1 region. Thus, the emitter current goes on increasing, limited by emitter power supply. The emitter voltage VE decreases with the increase in emitter current. This emitter voltage VE further decreases with the increase in emitter current. Hence, UJT exhibits negative resistance characteristics. That means when the current is going on increasing means the voltage is decreases. UJT is usually triggered into conduction by applying suitable positive pulse to the emitter. By applying a positive voltage at the emitter, the UJT comes into the triggering mode. And it is turned off by applying a negative trigger pulse. The base 2 is used only for applying external voltage VBB across it. By applying a positive trigger pulse at this emitter terminal, the UJT comes into triggering mode and the device is turned off by applying a negative trigger pulse. What are the characteristics of UJT characteristics, the VI characteristics of UJT? And the characteristics of UJT are separated in three regions: cutoff region, negative resistance region, and the saturation region. Saturation. What is cutoff region? It is the area where the UJT doesn't get sufficient voltage to turn on. That means the device is still in a off mode, and that is where when the emitter voltage is 0, or if it is below the peak point, the device is in the still the device is in the off state. This is called cutoff region. The applied voltage has not reached the triggering voltage. What is triggering voltage? Peak voltage is a triggering voltage. That makes the transistor is in off state. In the cutoff region, the device is in the off state. In the cutoff region, the applied voltage hasn't reached the trigger value. That maybe it is 0 or it is less than the triggering voltage. See, these are the characteristics of UJT. Here you can see this is the cutoff region up to this point, cutoff region from this to this, and negative resistance region from this VP peak voltage to valley voltage. This is called negative resistance region, and after that there is another region called saturation region. If you observe this negative resistance, see there are cutoff region. What is cutoff region? In the cutoff region, the device is still in the off mode. That means the applied voltage is it doesn't reach the turn on voltage. That is the triggering voltage. Here it is called peak voltage. If the voltage is less than the peak voltage, the device is in the cutoff region. UJT is in the cutoff region. At cutoff peak voltage, the device is triggered, and see here, this is the emitter current. The emitter current is going on increasing when the emitter voltage is decreasing. Though the emitter voltage is decreasing, the emitter current is going on increasing. That is the reason it is called negative resistance region. Negative resistance region. Why it is? After this, these charge carriers are decreasing the resistance, RB1 resistance. With this decreased resistance, the voltage at this point is decreasing. That means the device is further forward biased, more forward biased. More forward bias means more emitter current, up to valley voltage. After valley voltage, the device is into the saturation region. When the transistor reaches the triggering voltage, we trigger unijunction transistor will turn on. After a certain time, the applied voltage increases to the emitter lead. It will reach out to V peak. V peak. This voltage drop from V peak to valley point, even though the current increases, is called negative resistance region. The third region is saturation region. Saturation region is the area where the current and voltage rises. In the saturation region, the current is increasing and the voltage is also increasing. This region is called saturation region. The applied voltage to emitter terminal increases. Features of UJT. A stable triggering voltage, that is a fixed fraction of applied interbase voltage VBB, and a very low value of triggering current. Only a low triggering current is required. A high pulse current capability, negative resistance characteristics, and the cost is less. These are the features of UJT. And what are the applications of UJT? That means where we can apply, use this UJT, and is in phase control circuits, relaxation oscillators. This is the main application of oscillator, UJT as a relaxation oscillator, and timing circuits, switching circuits, and pulse generation. Also we can use this UJT. Sine wave generators, voltage or current regulator supplies, and these are the applications of UJT. And what is the summary of this session here? Some special semiconductor devices. We discussed about the special semiconductor devices. What are special semiconductor devices based on its method of fabrication, construction, and doping levels. The devices have some special characteristics. So that means these are used for special applications. Those are called special semiconductor devices. And again, we can say the devices which are dealing with the light, related with light means those are called optoelectronic devices. Examples of the special semiconductor devices are varactor diode, UJT, and TIAG, and tunnel diode. In this session, we discussed about the varactor diode, the construction and working principle. How it is constructed means we see two PA type material, two PN semiconducting materials. Based on the application, the semiconducting material will be either silicon or gallium arsenide. That means for low frequency applications, silicon is the used material. For high frequency materials, silicon arsenide is the gallium arsenide will be the used material. And what are the characteristics of varactor diode means? The capacitance is inversely varying with the applied reverse voltage. That means when the reverse voltage is increasing means the depletion region is increasing. With the increased depletion region, the capacitance is decreases. That means the depletion width of the depletion region and the capacitance is inversely proportional. We know that Ct is equals to epsilon into A by width of the depletion region. So applications of varactor diode, FMD modulators, and variable voltage variable oscillators. In all these cases, we can use the varactor diode. And the next one is UJT, unijunction junction transistor. It has the name itself. It is indicating it is a transistor. That means it has three terminals: emitter, base 1, and base 2. And the junctions, number of junctions for this transistor is only one junction, unijunction junction. And we discuss the construction of UJT as well as working of UJT, and the equivalent circuit of the UJT. Emitter terminal base 1 and base 2. When there is no emitter voltage, means this N region is acting as a resistor. High resistor, lightly doped material means the resistance is high. This is replaced with a two equivalent resistors RB1 and RB2. Two resistors RB1 and RB2. And there is no emitter voltage means whatever may be the voltage across RB1 is the voltage of cathode applied at the cathode. That means the diode is in the reverse bias. The emitter current is 0. And that means the UJT is in the off state. And this UJT is in the off state until the applied voltage at the emitter is emitter reaches the reaches are greater than the eta VBB by eta VBB plus the diode cut-in voltage VD. What is eta here? Eta is the intrinsic standoff ratio. It is the ratio of RB1 by total resistance, that is RB1 plus RB2. And UJT characteristics. UJT characteristics, it is divided into three regions: cutoff region, negative resistance region, and the saturation region. Now, in the cutoff region, the device is in the off state, and then in the negative resistance region, the device is in the on state, and the emitter current increases with the decreased emitter voltage. And in saturation region, the voltage and current are increasing. This is about the UJT characteristics and the applications of UJT, where we can use means it is used in relaxation oscillators, phase control circuits, timing circuits, switching circuits, pulse generation, and sine wave generators. In all the cases, we can use this UJT. And let us have some simple questions. Let us have a case. Varactor is usually operated in option A, forward biased. Option B is reverse biased, option C unbiased, option D none. So varactor is usually in reverse biased. The next question, varactor diode is used in option A AM generation, option B PM generation, option C FM generation, option D none. So varactor diode is used in, and generally it is a variable capacitor. So here this is used in FM generation. And next question, a unijunction transistor is option A low resistance device, option B high resistance device, C negative resistance device, and D inductive device. That is negative resistance device. It has negative resistance region. Negative resistance device. That means the current is increasing when the voltage is decreasing. The interbase resistance of UJT, interbase resistance, when RB1 is 6 kilo ohms and RB2 is 2 kilo ohms. So what is the interbase resistance? Eta, that is equals to ratio of RB1 by total resistance, that is 6 by 8. So what is the answer? Option A 12 kilo ohms, option B 8 kilo ohms, option C 3 kilo ohms, and option D 0.3 kilo ohms. What is the answer here? It is 8 kilo ohms. The UJT exhibits negative resistance between peak point and zero, peak point and cutoff point, peak point and valley point. Option D none. The negative resistance is between peak point and valley point. The P region in UJT is option A lightly doped, option B randomly doped, C heavily doped, and D none. Option is heavily doped. What are the questions we can expect from today's topic means? From varactor diode, draw the characteristics of varactor diode, explain the working principle of varactor diode, and list the applications of varactor diode. And from the UJT topic, we can expect the questions, explain the constructional details of UJT, and list the terminals of UJT or in short answers, and write the function of each terminal, and explain the UJT characteristics. Okay, with this, the session is over. Okay, in the next session, I will discuss about the optoelectronic devices. Okay, thank you.